How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another deck profile here at ScrubGames, and today we're going over a deck list for Android 18. Now, before you get into it, you might be thinking, isn't that deck dead? Well, a variant of it is, but the leader is still good and well and alive in the meta. It's just the only thing that happened was the mill deck got basically destroyed, obliterate, banned because of the errata to Frieza. But it didn't get anything else touched apart from that, so you can still go for a mill route, but it's like a very convoluted way of being able to actually get the mill off, because it no longer hits tokens, which is the main appeal of the deck, which is getting a load of tokens from the field card at 16, and then dropping the Frieza to then minus them all and make a mill for each one after amassing a ton of them. So even though that's got hit, I still feel this is a good blue leader, because as we're seeing in the format at the moment, Soul Striker, well perceived by most players to be the best blue deck in the game, isn't performing that as well as people thought, and its other blue decks that are actually shining and doing well, like as we've seen 18 before it got hit, as a mill deck was doing well. Blue Bojack, shout out to Big O Notation, is doing fantastic. We even got Blue Baby performing as well, at least in the UK, and then we've even got the Crimson Warrior Goku, the Super Saiyan God one, performing and still no real Soul Striker. And I do like this one because it does have a nice way to kind of slow down aggro in the field card, which we'll get into in a bit. So I just wanted to go over my list I'm slowly working on, trying to figure things out, that I'm tempted to take to locals tomorrow, but also maybe we're having this as like a fun blue deck to play, because as you know, I hate blue, but that's more because of how people who play blue play it, which is very slowly and play more to not lose than to actually try and win. So first thing I'm going to do is go over the list, just to go over the different card choices, the reason why they're there. Then I'll go over the turn play progression afterwards, and then closing thoughts. Before we get into that, shout out to DBS Deck Planet for being the best deck building website in the game, and really the only deck building website in the game that has tons of features, always been improving, and a great team behind it. And also, before we get into it as well, feel free to like the video if you enjoy it. Comment down below if there's any questions you have about the deck or any suggestions, or if there's anything I got wrong, so I can correct it for future and correct it in future videos for things like this. And lastly, feel free to subscribe as well, because it keeps you updated with my videos as when they drop, especially if you click the notification bell to get alerts as when they drop, and it also helps you get to my goal of 1,000 subs, which I'm currently a third of the way there. So, going into the lead. So it's just Android 18, so it's a blue Android, it's got the Android trait. From the special area as well, so that's mainly because this one's from the I think Dragon Ball Z Fighters game, or Dragon Ball Fighters Z game. So it's on the front Android 18, on the back it is dependable sister Android 18. So on the front it has an auto that we've had since the second set, which is when it's played, play a certain field card into play from your deck. So you can technically, if you start off as if you have a deck that's 50 cards, you technically start off with 49 cards because you get into play. And apart from that, all it's got is an activate main, which is once per turn, and an awaken skill. So with the activate main, it's a once per turn where you choose one clone token in your opponent's battle area and remove it from the game, and that's done by the fill card, which you'll see in a bit. You draw a card. Then you take one card from your life to your hand. Then you can choose up to one battle card on your opponent's board with entry cost of 1 or less, and bounce it back to their hand. So there you go. You get draw power, you get self awakening, and you also get the bounce back bestie things like the dark power Black Marseillan. And then with awaken is the defensive kind of awaken, which is when you less 4 or less, draw 2, flip it over. That's the kind of awaken we had back when the first ever set came in. And then now on the awaken side, you still have an auto, but now it's the auto is the way you draw, which is when it's extra 1, which is a standard thing from most leaders. And you still have the activate main, that's once per turn, doing the same thing, removing a clone token from your opponent's battle area from the game. But now you don't draw from that effect, you don't take a life, but you do still get the bounce back, a 1 cost or less battle card in your opponent's battle area. And also now it adds to the fact that Any blue or green battle cards in your hand that have a combo cost of 1 is now reduced by 1. So it means any combo cost, you've got like a 1 cost 10k or things like that, or 1 cost 5k. For any cards that have blue in them or green in them, because it counts multicolours, now can be comboed for 0. Or any ones that have 2 combo costs now reduced by 1, I think it has how it goes. So it now means that you can still have that bouncing back of 1-drops, because as I said, that Power Black Mass is a pesky one. And also, as well as that, you can make like your whole, if you've got a whole hand of 1 cost 10ks, they now become free combo as well, which is really nice. It's an added benefit. So what's nice is, so the main things I can take from that, it's got draw power on both sides, it's got self-awakening built in, it's got a way to play a card to help you against aggro, which is the field card, and then when it awakens you can now attack and draw 1 as well. So very nice, and it's a decent leader to start off with. And the field card we play with it is Android 21 Scheme. So this is a 4 cost field card, no barrier, because not many of the field cards have barrier, and it has 3 autos. The first one is also once per turn. When you or your opponent play a battle card, a non-token battle card, it can't attack for the duration of the turn. Now one thing that you do need to note with this is, to allow yourself to attack, if you want to attack on your turn, you have to play something to bait out that field effect, and then play something which then attacks. So the first thing either person plays in any given turn, be it your or your opponent's turn, that card can't attack. So you need to watch out for things like this, because if during your opponent's turn, before they play something, you play something like a counter player that plays, or a battle card, or anything that plays, any battle card that kind of plays on the board during your opponent's turn before they actually play a card, that eats up the effect, so then your opponent can play stuff, their first battle card, and still be able to attack. So watch out for things like that. And then for the second auto, it kind of makes it so running any black card is, well, any overwhelm is not that great in the deck, because of the fact it says when you play a black battle card, it gets placed straight in the owner's drop area. So it means you can overwhelm, get the effects of the overwhelm, but then it goes straight to drop after that, which is mostly one of the ways you would bait it out for the mill variant, by overwhelming the Barlock to get the draw 2 discard 1, set to drop, baiting out the field card. Now you can play Frieza. And the other effect is how you get your tokens, which is at the start of your opponent's main phase, so after they charge, you play 2 clone tokens with 10k power in your opponent's battle area. So do note that these tokens do have combo power. They don't have combo power, so they can't be comboed off. The 10k, so they can force you down on your opponent on your unawakened side, and the opponent gets 2 of them. Now with we don't play any Android 16 in here because we don't want to spam our opponent with poke tokens, because that's not great anymore now that Frieza has been errated. And normally you're just there to help with your opponent with your leader effect. So when you're not awakened, you'd be always just going sack off a clone token to draw, take a life, and bounce something if you want to. Then on your awakened side, you're always going to be sacking off a token just so you can potentially bounce a 1-drop if need be, getting rid of a token, and also allowing you to combo with 1 cost 10k combos without paying energy for them. Just the benefit of that. And so starting off, we're going to the Unisons. So we got the first one, Unison, to help deal with not stopping the tokens from attacking you and getting aggroed down by your own mechanic, which is Super Android 13 Never-Ending Bloodlust. This is great because this is a way for, as soon as you've got 1 clone token on your opponent's board, to drop a Unison without paying energy and have ready easy way from the first turn, or even for the second turn if you're going first, to be able to have your things like God Sealing stuff live. Because it's a 2 specified cost 14k Unison, that's blue. It's got 2 marker skills, a +2 and a -4, and it's also got an activate main where if your opponent, or if you don't have a Unison card in play, and you choose one of your opponent's clone tokens and root from the game as a cost, you play this card from your hand in rest mode with a marker on it. So essentially, if you, well, as soon as your opponent's had a turn where they get 2 clone tokens, on your own turn, you can sack off 1 clone token to get the draw or self-awaken and maybe bounce something, and then set the other token to play this with a marker on, so you can straight up +2. And the +2 is great to help they manage the tokens because they don't have a combo cost, it can't be removed very easily. but they can attack. But then the 8+2 stops them because of his activate main is one of your mono blue leader cards gets 5k power for the turn, so you can give your leader a boost as well into attack power. And your opponent's clone tokens can attack during their next turn. So essentially, while you're giving them, if you give them too many tokens, they have them, but then they're useless because they can't remove them. They're more for your benefit once this hits the board. And the -4, which could come in handy at times, is an activate battle where this card gains 11k power and double strike for the turn. So essentially, when you attack with it, you can -4 to make it a 25k double strike to kind of help close out games if you want to. And we don't only just play that Unison, we also play the Baby Unison, 4 copies of it as well, because it's such a great Unison. And also, like the Super Android 13, it has a +2 to keep high markers on. But this is one that you don't play for free, you do play for free energy, and you normally play it on turn 4, so you have at least an energy open for things like the magic to protect it a lot easier. So Baby is the extra draw power, where for +2, draw a card. And that way you use it to help close out games is -5, which is activate main if your leader card is mono blue, which is just a requirement. Your leader card needs to be mono blue. You choose it to one of your leader cards, and it gains 15k power and double strike for the turn. And until the start of your opponent's until the start of your next turn, you can activate mono blue cards with counter skills from your hand without paying its energy cost by instead choosing 2 cards in your hand and discarding them instead. So essentially, if you want to activate any counter skill from your hand after you use the -5, you just discard any 2 other cards, activate that counter skill, and it just counter as well. So it counts for counter attack, and counter play. So this is so normally you're going to be wanting to drop Super Android 13 on your first or second turn, depending which turn. If you go first or second, to stop tokens from attacking, have a Unison there to maybe deflect hits and also have that glass ceiling live. And then for turn 4 onwards, you're going to be wanting to drop the Baby, or even turn 3 maybe if you want to get the Baby Unison on board to get that extra draw, while also having to get the -5 set up. And that's it for Unisons. We do have a few, but then it's also too bad because you can always charge them or discard them for any effects as well. And we have a super combo choice, which you can also use to put them back if you have too many in hand, which is for Cheetah, Discipline Warrior. You're only going to be charging blue energy, and this is one of these from set 11 of super combos, which are mainly used unless there's a better one or one that's more beneficial to the strategy. Like if you've got like U7 uses Sparking because it keeps a high life total and can fill up his drop quite easily. But we're using the Cheetah because as soon as you get the 4 life, which you can easily do with your leader, when you combo with this, as long as your leader's blue and your energy's all blue, which it will be, you gain 10k, and then you can put a card to the bottom of the deck, draw 2, which is nice to filter through your deck quicker and put back dead cards to dig through your deck and find other things. So that's 4 copies of Super Combo. Then we've got the main reason, like part of the Unison package, which is, well, the 2 Baby cards. And this is your way to guarantee pushing through your win con, which we'll see in a bit. And that is Golden Adventure. It's unique, but so that means if you can play multiple in a turn using the counter skills if you do the -5, but you can only have 1 board at a time. And it is a triple striker as well, so never way to finish off. And it has 2 counter skills, counter play and the counter. You're going to mainly be using it for its counter. But the counter play skill is you play this card, then if the battle card being played has an energy cost of 7 or less, it's returned to your hand instead of being played. And the counter skill is negate the counter skill and play this card, which is like what things like the Band Ring Laser and the Cooler kind of do for their counter skills. And it not only has that, but it also has an auto where when it's played, you draw 1, then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and place it at the bottom of his owner's deck. So that is that's quite handy, being able to then potentially either stop a counter or stop something from being played, and then be able to get rid of something else while drawing, replace it stuff in hand, which is quite nice. And we only play 3 of those because you don't want to clog up, but you do sometimes on the attack you might want 2 to help protect the card coming into play and protect it from attack when it attacks as well. Then we have our secret rare, which Mostly, if you play the blue deck, you're always going to be playing Baby Hatch, unless there's a secret rare, which 99% of the time there isn't going to be a secret rare that's better than Hatch. Like, we saw how good Super Shenron was with the fact that you can just end your opponent's turn. Well, not even give your opponent's turn, just have a turn straight after. And Baby Hatch is almost similar to that in the fact that its counterattack is if you have 3 or more energy. So it's live as soon as you hit 3 energy. You get the attack, play this card, and your opponent can't attack for the rest of the turn. And that's with anything, so no more attacking at all, no more taking damage from battle. And most of the time your opponent just maybe pays energy to do things, and then that's it, they pass turn. So having that Super Shenron effect in any blue deck is fantastic. But you're not going to be paying 8 energy as well because it's got permanent. It's got 2 permanents actually. First one is one that's been put on most secret rares nowadays since the Unison Warrior series, which is if it's removed from the battle area it's removed from your battle area, then it's removed from the game instead. And the other permanent is if your leader card is mono blue, you can choose one other card in your hand, discard it instead of paying this card's energy cost when activating the counter skill. So essentially, discard another card at the trigger the counter skill for free, which is great. So that's some of the big main things that you see in most blue decks, well apart from the first 2. And then we have the God Sealing. We play 3 of this because you can get your Unison down turn 1, 2, depending which turn, if you're on first or second. And this is great just to stop something from coming in if it doesn't have deflect. And like most deck, this is a very good counterplay, but the later the game goes on, the more things that come down with deflect, which this can't affect. Well, which this card can't affect them. But when you can get this out turn 1 or 2, like so early, it's great to stop those early turn plays. And yeah, especially against things like aggro decks when you want to overrun, cutting off their 1 overrun turn and denying that is quite nice. Then we got one of the new additions from set 16, being SSG Son Goku Miraculous Transformation. This is another way to help protect yourself. Like blue is very defensive, and this is like a Dead Defender which you used to have, which are like battle cards that stop your opponent from attacking your leader card unless one is on the board. And this is a 6 cost, 20k, but you're not going to pay 6 for it. It's got Deflect, Unique, Double Strike, and Triple Strike and Barrier. So it's got Unique, meaning you can only have 1. Triple Strike, which you can use as a game ender if you want. And it's got something that no battle card should really have, which is Deflect and Barrier. Like, to be honest, no card should have both these 2 skills. They should have either one or the other, not both. But Bandai wanted to put this on it. Like at least the effect, like Barrier means it's hard to remove by like skills unless you can go through Barrier, and Deflect means it's protected from counter players. So, but there is no card should have both. Now it's got 3 skills. It's got a counter attack and 2 permanents. The counter attack is just negate the attack player's card in rest mode to get that to just get it there ready for your opponent to defend yourself. And the 2 permanents is how you play it cheaper than 6 energy and how it protects you. The first one is during your opponent's turn, reduce energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each card in your opponent's energy. So once they hit the turn 3, this is a free cost, and it can't go lower than that because you still have to pay the specified cost on the card, which is 3 blue. And the other permanent is how it defends your lead. But if your leader card is mono blue and this card is in rest mode, your opponent's battle card can't attack the leader card. So essentially, what's on board, the opponent's battle cards can't attack, but then you mainly want to use on a leader or Unison swing because those can still attack your leader though. And yeah, considering that Baby Hatch is the thing, most people do swing with their leader first against blue, so they don't get Baby Hatch and locked out of draw, and then you just carry on your next turn. And we only played 2 copies of this because it is a 1 cost 10k, and it's not live until your opponent has turn 3, which is normally your turn 4 if you're going second, or your turn 3 if you're going first. Then we have 2 copies of Android 18, Let the Battle Begin. This is a useful counterplay, and exclusives either this in Android 21 or on Android 16 or a heroine lead. So it's a 4 cost 15k with blocker and a counterplay where play this card, then the battle card being played, if the battle card being played has an energy cost of 4 or less, it's bottom decked instead of being played. And the way you play it for cheap, because most of these things aren't played by their actual costs, and that is by its permanent, where if your leader card is an Android card or a heroine card, and you have a Unison card in play with a specified cost of 2 or more, which As we've seen, when that's around to 13, you can get that set up by turn 1 or 2. If it's your opponent's turn, reduce the energy cost of discard in your hand by 3, meaning it becomes down for 1 energy, which is great, absolutely great, especially since it doesn't go back to hand, goes to the bottom of the deck, is very, very useful. And we play 2 copies of that. We could up that a bit more, but I want to keep the deck down to 50 so you can see for your deck a lot easier. And 2 fits it very well, because if you see it, you could always side more copies, but it's still a good card, and you most likely will see it with 2 copies as well. And then we get into the main part of the deck, like your main win con, now that we can't really use Frieza to reliably mill. First thing we have is 3 copies of Android 21 Scholarly Gambit. So this is a promo, like one of the 2020 championship promos. And I think we got 2 sets of these. We got a first half and a second half. It has blocker and barrier, so at the very least you can use it as a barrier blocker to help defend against things if you ever expect to go against Victory Strike or need a blocker that's protected. And it's going to be played for free because it's activate main, where if your opponent has, well, if you don't have a copy of this card in play in your battle area, and you choose 1 clone token from your opponent's battle area and move from the game, play this card from your hand. And this is a great way for if you want to attack with play anything else after, to bait your Android 21 scheme, because you're not really going to attacking with this. And if you get a turn 5, it does have an auto where if you have 5 or more energy and place this card in its owner's drop area, when your opponent plays a battle card with energy cost greater than their energy, you can choose that battle card and place it in at the bottom of its owner's deck. You're not really going to use this effect, it's more for the fact you can just free play it, bring with a token. And we play 3 copies of it because we do want to see it early enough. And the next part of the chain is where you can probably now tell where it's going, is Son Goku Path to Infinite. This is a 5 cost 20k with a 1 cost 10k combo. And I mean where for 1 blue, if your leader card is blue, and you choose one of your blue battle cards with energy cost of 4 or more, or of 4, so it's got to be exactly 4, and return it to your hand, you play this card from your hand. So you only got 2 targets in the deck, which is the Android 18, which is still a good target that bounces back the hand, or the Android 21, which is the main thing you use because you can play this out for free by just removing a token. And then you just bounce that back to play this Goku. Remember, the 21 then baits out the field card, so you could attack with it, but you're not going to be attacking with this, you could be evolving into it further into Ultra Instinct Sign Son Goku, a card all the way back for set 3, which has a good way to help you win. So with this one, it's a 7 cost 35k triple strike. So it means it does 3 damage if it connects and does damage. And it has an EX Evolve skill where for 2 blue, you place 1 card from your hand to in the drop area, and it evolves on top of a blue Son Goku with energy cost 5 or more. So the Path to the Infinite. And now this is a good way of how you win, because you want to get your opponent down to 3 and then finish off with this, because it has a permanent where your opponent can't combo for the duration of this card's battle. So as soon as it declares an attack, your opponent can't use any combos. And being a 35k triple strike is going to be strong your opponent's leader most of the time, and you're going to not really worry about your opponent blocking it because of its auto, where when this card is when this card evolves, when a card evolves into this card, return all of your opponent's battle cards to its owner's hand. And due to how it's worded, it doesn't have the word choose, so that means if your opponent has anything with power on, it still bounces that because it's not choosing the card, it's just returning them all back. It's all about the wording in Dragon Ball for how things get around things, and this gets around barrier because the fact it doesn't choose the card, it just bounces everything back. So the general consensus with this, before we get into it, is get into a turn where you can drop the baby Unison, put 5. Protect it with 5 markers, then in your turn -5, so you have the baby Golden Avenger to be able to play out for free by discarding 2 other cards, and then just sacking off a token to play Android 21, then triggering the field card so it can't attack, and now the rest of your cards can attack. Bounce it back with Son Goku Path to Infinite to get this on board by paying 1 blue, and then paying 2 and discarding a card to evolve on top of it with the Ultra Instinct. And then if once your opponents are free, which is what you want to do before you drop this and before you even reveal this, and then swing with this, use Baby Golden Avenger to protect the to negate the counter attack using the counter skill, and also if you worry about it being counterplayed, having a second one to deal with the counterplay. And then you swing, stop the counter attack, and then it can't combo, so unless you've got extra cards or other ways to try and get it higher than 35, which you can always just combo up further, then you win the game by just basically putting them down for 3 to 0. So that's the main way to get them to there. And that is it for our main strategy to get them there. And then we have the extra cards. And the first one we have is Realm of the Gods Beerus Destroys. Now this is back in when we used to play the mill-off version of this before we got to the more updated version. It used to run like with Janemba, like how Janemba did with most mill decks, was 1 cost 10k cards that were draws, like the Cell and the Unbreakable. And those were great because you can use your energy, which you didn't use much of, combo 10k, out combo things, and also get a draw to replace itself, so you didn't lose hand trying to defend. And this does all that and more, and also as a blue card, which is great. So, is that Fate Battle, where if your leader card is blue and all your energy is blue, you use it to one of your cards, and note this can also go on Unisons, which is great, where the old every colour got this, and it's kind of a update on the ones we got set 9 for every colour. And it's kind of upgrade because those previous ones did 15k power but didn't affect a Unison because Unisons weren't out yet. But these ones do, but they have less power, but they got more useful effects. Well, most of them do it anyway. So it's got an effect where it gains 10k power. So you choose one of your cards, gain 10k power for the battle, and then depending on whose turn it is, you get an additional effect. If it's your turn, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost greater than their current energy and bottom deck it. And if it's your opponent's turn, you draw one card, then choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 2 or less and bottom deck it. So you either use it offensively to remove something bigger than energy, while also getting 10k power, or defensively you act as like how the Unbreakable and Cell did, which is a 1 cost 10k combo that draws 1, but you get the added benefit of bottom decking something that's 2 or less, like either like a little weenie or some kind of little cantrip that's got an additional effect. So you play 4 copies of this card, because unlike Unbreakable and Cell, it is also a blue card that you want to charge as well, and is useful. It's got the useful removal effect of things like the 9-drop Sin and stuff like that. So we play 4 copies of that. Then we've got 3 Senzu Bean just to give you energy, just helpful on defense and offense, just be able to use the Beerus offensively to remove stuffing, then beam back the energy, or you defensively get that 5k combo for the turn and give you more energy. And we play 3 copies of it because it's good to help defend, but you can always side another copy if you need it, but 3 is normally enough. And we've got 4D Magic, another way to give you more energy to do things with, and also help you defend easier, just turning 1 energy into 2 energy and negating an attack. And then we've got 3 Shield Army Reinforcement, just a never helpful way to deflect. Unlike D Magic stops 1 attack, but gives you energy to stop more. Whereas Shield Army Reinforcement allows you to stop 2 attacks because it negates the attack. Then plays a token with Blocker, and it's played for free, almost similar. So D Magic's played for free because if you've got 5 cards in your drop, you can take a life instead of paying its energy cost to use its counter skill. Shield's Army is different in the fact that if you've got 5 or less life, you can activate it for free by taking a life instead of paying its energy cost. And that's all the extra cards. And last card, which wasn't in order because it was just something I changed up and put in additionally, is 3 Infernal Infinity Cell, because it does the same kind of thing as the Beerus, as I said, which is a 1 cost 10k combo to help out combo things, while also drawing a card. But it's also a green card, so so offensively you can play it for free, becoming like a pseudo super combo, or essentially actually it's like a super combo, where in your turn when you use the Awakened Sides effect to remove a token, so they can't attack with it, and you get the effect to reduce the combo cost in your battle cards by 1 if they've got 1 cost combo. This then becomes a free 10k, draw 1 to attack with. I would have 4 in there, but I can't think of what to reduce the down in cards, because you want 3 of each of your main win con, being Android 21, Goku, and Ultra Instinct, to make sure you see 1 of each of the pieces. And at 2, you might not, but you can always cut down the Ultra Instinct to 2 and put in a fourth cell, so that way you can be more aggressive in your turn to help draw for your deck and put more pressure to try and put them down to 3. But that's the list. And so with the turn play progression, normally it's turn 1. You're normally setting, depending if you're going first or second. If you're going first, you're not going to get any clone tokens, you'll be charging, passing. But if you're going second, you're normally going to be charging, using Leader's Effect to remove one of the 2 tokens you give them, to draw and take a life, and then remove the other one to play the Super Android 13, and then plus to it, so yeah, you've got the God Sealing live, and also you have the Android 18 Let the Battle Begin live as well. We'll also have it stopping their tokens they get from next turn from attacking, and also having just the Unison amounts to maybe draw attacks away. But normally if you go on first, just charge pass. Turn 2, they put you to 4, that's fine, you'll be awakening anyway. And then every turn after that, maybe for turn 2, is normally use Leader Effect, draw, take a life, and then trying to establish that Android 13 straight away. And then it's just defending. Then once you get turn 3 or 4, depending on how you feel, you can then replace the Super Android 13, because you'll be awakened by then hopefully, with the baby, so you can get more draws and then have a stronger user that may deflect attacks and also help get that set up quicker. But normally I would drop the baby Unison on turn 4, so you can pay 3, plus up the +5, and then you got 1 energy to use D-Magics, and so you don't have to then take a life to do it, because you could be down to 4, and that's it's still dangerous to go down to 3. At least that way you got a way to deal help for free, but just going pay 1 energy to D-Magic and then untap 2, and then either use a life or the energy to use Chill's Army Reinforcement to help defend more attacks, and you'll still have super combos and Trunks counterplay and stuff like that to help defend. And then normally once you get to turn 4, you can then, turn 4 or 5 depending when you played your baby Unison, so if you, as long as you protect it, is -5, so you can have Golden Adventure to be paid for free. And then you got the chain, get them down to 3, in that time get them down to 3, just keep pressuring. And then once you get down to 3, focus on getting out the 21 Goku and the Ultra Instinct, while in that time protecting it from being played with the baby Golden Adventure, and then protecting the attack to make sure it goes through with baby Golden Adventure as well. I did have a game on my stream on Tuesday when I was testing it out, but unfortunately I went against the one colour that really deals with it, and also the one that mainly just has a hard time, which is Yellow Trunks, because they have the Infernal Flash. But I still feel it's a strong deck, and normally in the best of 1 and best of 3, you're trying to have side answers for. They're trying ways to help deal with it, get around it with side deck. But this looks like a fun deck, and if I get all the pieces by Friday, I'll be trying to play this in the webcam locals for the UK. If I don't, I'll have to play something else, but I will try and play this at least once for a webcam locals, because it is a fun idea. I just still want to make use of Android 18 because I feel it's a pretty good leader. So anyway, thank you for watching, and feel free to give this deck a try. I'll link to the list deck planet will be down below, so you can try it on Untap if you want to, or even fill about with if you want to. And yeah, I'll bring up more. I should be up tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Yeah, I should be up tomorrow for the streaming the locals with the UK webcam one. So I hope to see you all there, and hopefully be testing this deck out then. So once again, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye for now.